All right, so we are doing 3 meals this week. So this is a holiday week. So I don't feel like 4 full meals would get eaten, so we're just doing 3. So I have everything pulled out and set up in front of us. And so we're doing a salmon sheet pan meal. We'll also be doing a sweet potato skillet meal that is a family favorite. And then we're going to get some stuff ready for some fried rice. And so those are the 3 meals that we'll be making. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and start reviewing all of the equipment that we need today. So for our fried rice, we're gonna go ahead and make our rice. So fried rice is typically best made with the day old rice, or rice is a couple days old. So we're gonna go ahead and make that. So if you're planning a meal, the fried rice is not what you want to have tonight. So we need our pot, we need a peeler, our measuring cups. I have my cutting board, and then I will get a knife as well. And so that's the equipment that we're going to need to get started. So I'm going to add about 2 cups of rice to my pot, and then I'm going to add some water and start rinsing it. So I recently learned about rinsing your rice. So I don't quite rinse it until the water runs clear, but I do rinse it a couple times and then let it soak for a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just covering it all with water. And this is to remove a lot of the starch that's on the rice, I believe. I could be wrong about that, so feel free to correct me. So I'm doing about 2 cups. We'll probably have a little bit of this rice with dinner tonight, and then the rest we'll have tomorrow when we have our fried rice. And so this is vegetable fried rice. Feel free to add shrimp if you want to. If you had like a rotisserie chicken, this would be a great meal. A great quick and easy meal to add some extra protein. I'm just going to add a couple extra eggs, and so it'll be vegetarian rice. All right. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of water in there and set this off to the side. And then we'll start peeling. So my vegetables for my sheet pan meal are going to be sweet potatoes. And so I'm going to go ahead and prep everything on the sheet pan. So I do also have my sheet pan out. But I'm going to cut these into wedges. So they'll probably take a little longer to cook. So I will likely have to take my salmon out and let the sweet potatoes cook a little bit longer. But these will be wedges, and then I'll have to dice these for our sweet potato meal, our sweet potato skillet meal. And so I will go ahead and start peeling. And so this week is Thanksgiving week. And so I will be doing another meal prep session I'd say probably on Tuesday. So typically I meal prep a breakfast for Thanksgiving. Last year there was this whole discussion about whether or not people actually eat breakfast on Thanksgiving. A lot of people said that you just fend for yourself until you eat Thanksgiving meal. And so I like to meal prep a breakfast. My kids are not going to go for their food coming later. We tend to have a French toast. So French toast is a huge deal in our family. Matter of fact, it was actually in my vows. So if you've known me long enough, I've probably fed you French toast like several times. I'll just go with several times. But Rebecca, she actually meal prepped French toast for us when we had our oldest, and so ever since then, we were like, this is the way to go. So it's a French toast casserole, and the recipe I have, I don't ever follow it directly. I try and use a little less sugar because it calls for a lot of sugar and butter and heavy cream, and so we try and do a non-dairy limited dairy version where we use butter, but we use non-dairy milk and use almond milk. All right. So I'm not sure I'm gonna have enough space. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these into wedges. They're more like strips, but they'll work. So they'll be almost like sweet potato fries. So not too much chopping this week. So if you meal prep last week, I'd love for you to jot down in the comments what that like freed up time for you to do. So my goal with these meal prep sessions is basically I'm taking some of the load off for you. You don't have to decide what's for dinner. You just have to decide when you're eating it. You don't have to create your shopping list. That's made up for you. I feel like a lot of times people are telling moms that, hey, you need to take care of yourself and exercise and do all of these things, but no one's taking anything else off of your plate to help you be able to do that. So my goal is to take something off of your plate so that you're able to find a little bit of time to take care of yourself. So if you know, hey, this meal's going in the crock pot, maybe you can go exercise. Go to that exercise class without feeling guilty or bad about it, because I mean, you would have been at home cooking dinner and unavailable anyway, so might as well do something for yourself. So crock pot meals are really great for nights where you either have to work late or you know, hey, we're going to get home late because somebody has soccer practice or there's a baseball game we have to get to. So those are the nights you should be doing the crock pot meals. The skillet meals, they take a little more time in the kitchen, even though everything's done. So that would be a great day to just like have a podcast playing, and you could just listen to an encouraging podcast while you're cooking your skillet meal. A lot of times, if you have something planned ahead, you're kind of more likely to do it. If you have to like find a podcast in the moment, it'll be easier just to start cooking. So my sheet pan's right in front of the iPad, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw these onto the sheet pan. And then I'll get to dicing the other sweet potato. All right, so we'll peel these two. And the other thing about meal prepping is that if you have to work late, you're less likely to stop at the drive-thru. So it's going to save you money, time, and hopefully just some peace of mind. I started meal prepping, let's see. So shortly after me and my husband got married, we got married while I was in med school. So we got married, we lived together probably for about like 2 or 3 months. And then I had to go back to med school. So we did distance for the majority of that first year. And one night I called him and he was eating peanut butter on crackers for dinner. Peanut butter and preserves on crackers for dinner. And I was like, nope, this is not okay. So I would meal prep whenever we were together on weekends. I take a little bit of time in meal prep to make sure that he had some actual meals to eat. I felt like it automatically became my responsibility as soon as we got married to make sure he was fed a wholesome meal, even though like he'd been eating his whole life. Like I feel like there's a lot of things that we take on as moms as responsibilities, and people have been handling them their whole life, and then all of a sudden it's all the weight is on us. We have to decide every night what's for dinner and make it happen. Well, we don't have to anymore. So typically the sheet pan meal is a really great one to start having someone else cook, because literally you just dump it on the sheet pan. And if you want, you can use tinfoil to kind of aid with the cleanup process. All right, so we are dicing these. And if you notice today, I remembered to turn off the sound machine so you don't have the lovely heartbeat in the background. And so even though I'm currently on maternity leave, these meal preps have really helped us because by the time my daughter gets home from school, kind of like all bets are off and we're just running. So it really helps to already have dinner prepped and planned out. I think the biggest thing with meal prepping this way is that everything is freezable. So if you know, hey, the turkey that I have, it's used or freeze by today. So I can easily just drop it in the freezer and it's there for when we need it. Probably need to work on my chopping skills. But whatever you need to do to make meal prepping more enjoyable, I have a candle lit. I had strawberry shortcake yesterday and it smelled amazing, but apparently that was the end of that candle's life. So we have our pumpkin pie going today. All right, that's about all that's going to fit in that one. And so these actually come with lids. I'm going to have to take a little bit out. These come with lids, so we're just going to leave it in here. The sweet potatoes will be good for a while. I'll freeze the turkey, but then I will unfreeze it or thaw it out, and we'll have it this weekend. And so the way we're cooking these, these are going in the skillet. And so they don't have to be you want them kind of even, but they don't have to be super even, just because of how we're cooking them. All right, my fingers are getting a little close. All right, so now we have to dice up 2 onions, and then we're done with all the chopping, and we're just on to assembly. So I'm just removing the outer layer of these onions, like I tried to do last time, and it absolutely took forever. This seems to be going quicker. All right, perfect. And so right now I'm just using that so I can just peel off this outer layer and 1 layer of onion. So we will dice these really quickly, and hopefully there won't be too many tears involved. But it's always a guessing game. Oh, I didn't put a little tray in there. I'm like, why are they going everywhere? And so whenever you're meal prepping onions and you have to store them, be mindful because they can kind of stink up your fridge. So I won't store my onions in this. I'll put my onions in a plastic bag. Oh, seems like the tears are going to start flowing. I even tried leaving the knob on there. All right. And so now we're going to start assembling. So the other thing that you do need to chop if you're using fresh garlic is your garlic. But I'm going to get my rice. I'm going to pour off the water that it's been sitting in. So this is what, I don't know if you can see what my water looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and pour that off. And then I'm going to cover it with about half an inch of water. And then just let it come to a boil. Alright, so I'm just going to put it on the stove right back here. And we will check on it in a little bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the rest that we need to do for our fried rice. So I'm going to grab a bag. That's the one thing I didn't get out. So I went ahead and grabbed some plastic bags. I'm going to use this small one. And so this is where I'm going to put my onions. And I'm also going to put sesame seed oil. So for the fried rice, you're going to, most of the stuff you kind of just throw in the pan, so you don't have to really get it out ahead of time. The rice is the main thing, and then going ahead and chopping up your onions. Anything that's going to take you a significant amount of time. So I'm just going to throw a good bit of my onions in here, and then I'm going to add my sesame seed oil. So if you're using fresh garlic, the onions are still getting me. If you're using fresh garlic, I'd go ahead and put it in here as well. So you're going to put about 3 tablespoons of your sesame seed oil in here. Alright, and so you'll just dump this straight into the frying pan. Then you'll add your garlic. Once that's done, you'll add your peas, your carrots. My peas and carrots are frozen, so I'm not going to get them out now. If you're using fresh carrots, you would go ahead and chop those up and put them probably in a separate bag, but I think the frozen's going to works wonderful, so I always use the frozen peas and carrots. And then after that, once all of that is going and really fragrant, you're going to fry 2 eggs, add your soy sauce. We use coconut aminos, but add that, and then you're going to add your rice in. And so it's a really quick and easy meal. You just got to cook the rice ahead of time. So the next thing that we're getting ready is our sweet potato skillet. So we already have all these sweet potatoes diced. And so what we'll do is we're just going to put lids on this. And we will store them in the refrigerator just like this. And then we're going to our onions, we're going to go ahead and add all of our spices. So we have our onions right here. We'll put them in a bag because our turkey's going to go in here too. So I'm freezing everything except for the sweet potatoes. You could freeze the sweet potatoes, but I know I'm going to eat it rather soon. So, all right. So here we go. So we have our onions. We're going to go ahead and add some of our garlic. So we're adding a tablespoon of garlic. We need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we'll get rid of these onions and I will stop crying. 1, 2. All right. We'll go get our ground turkey. We need a teaspoon of chili powder. That's what the recipe I use calls for, but we don't do that much spice, so I'm just going to do half a teaspoon. And then our cumin, we need a tablespoon of our cumin. Oh, it calls for a tablespoon and a half, so. All right. So next we're going to add half a teaspoon of our salt. Oh, don't want too much. And then a couple shakes of pepper. That might have been a little extra, but all right. And so here we have it. So once we get done with all of this stuff, I will go get the turkey and I'll just put the turkey in there and this one will be done. And so I went ahead and grabbed my sheet pan. And so I'm going to drizzle some olive oil over my sweet potatoes and then assemble them. So I'm just going to kind of put them around the edges. And then we'll do salt, pepper, and then some sweet paprika. And again, we're having this for dinner, so if you're if you're doing this and you're not having it today, I would go ahead and put it in a plastic bag, or if you have these containers, you can use them as well. And you can either use sweet or smoked, so we're using sweet paprika, whatever you have. And then we're going to assemble our glaze. So I'm just going to do it straight in here. So we need half a cup of olive oil. You can use that, or you can use half a cup of butter. We're going to use the olive oil. I'm going to use a little less than half a cup, since I already have some oil in the pan. And then we want half a cup of honey. I don't want mine to be that sweet, so again, we're going to do a little less. All right, 1/4 of a cup of, 5 cloves of garlic. So we're just going to do tablespoons. And there's a little cumin on our tablespoon, but it'll be okay. Oh, and this is not going to be big enough. So let me go get something else because we still have to add our soy sauce. Make sure you're checking on your rice. So I'm just going to add this to the bowl. And I'll get the rest of the honey out. And then 1/4 of a cup Alright. So I need to add a little bit more garlic to that, and then we will be good to go. And so I have 4 salmon fillets. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse these and assemble them on the pan. And this would be a great marinade. So if you're not having it tonight and it kind of sits over all night in that sauce, in that glaze, that is going to be amazing. So I'm just going to rinse these off really quickly. And put them straight on the pan. I would put tin foil on it to aid in cleanup. Sometimes I do that, but whenever I'm using honey, a lot of times it gets up under the tin foil anyway, so I'm just going to have to wash the pan anyway. So. Alright, so I'm just going to grab a paper towel really quickly and pat these dry. Oh. And then I'll put my glaze on it. So these will probably sit in the glaze for a couple hours before dinner time. Alright, so I'm just going to slowly spoon this over, mixing it up because that honey sunk to the bottom. So I'm just going to spoon it over each piece. And I think I'm going to save just a little bit to add right before they go in the oven. Make sure it's all nice and covered. Alright, and so mine's all covered. Just going to add a little bit of salt, pepper. Alright. And so let's go get our turkey and then I think we're done. So make sure you're checking on your rice right now. So my rice is almost done, but I'm just going to clean up really quickly and get a lot of this put away. That way we won't have as much to do when we are finished. So my garlic needs to go in the fridge and so does my soy sauce. So we'll put these up really quickly. Alright, and then we'll go put up all of our spices and then both of our oils. so the last thing I gotta run and get is our turkey. And so I'm gonna move this on over to the side. So I bought this value pack of turkey. So this is 2.5 pounds. So we're not gonna put quite all of it in, and then I'm just gonna freeze the rest. Actually, I might go ahead and cook some of it and freeze it. That's what I think I'll do. I'll cook some of it, and then I'll have some ground beef for later, or ground turkey for later that I can use to make spaghetti. Or we can have it, we could just reheat it and have it with tacos. That's a great way to buy in bulk and still kind of get the most use out of it. I feel like a lot of times before, if I bought in bulk without a plan, then I would end up wasting a bunch of it. And so I'm gonna take, oh, why am I getting a new bag? All right, so this ground turkey is going in with your onions. So I'm just gonna pick this up and place it in here. So those are some big onions, and I have a lot of sweet potatoes, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and that's the wrong bag. Is that the wrong bag? No, that's the right one. Whew. Okay. All right, so I went ahead and put 2.5 pounds in here. But I think my sweet potatoes were just a little on the large side. And so we will have this probably over the weekend, probably on Saturday or Sunday. And so there you have it. And so this was a really quick, really simple one, but we'll go over everything right before we end. And so we have our ground turkey in a bag with our onions. So this is for our sweet potato skillet. In a separate bag or in separate containers, we'll have sweet potatoes. And so this is one meal, our sweet potato skillet. So our other meal is your salmon. And so this is what mine looks like. So I have my salmon fillets and my sweet potatoes, and they're cut into kind of just like strips. And so I'll probably, like I said, have to take the salmon off when I'm cooking it. My rice is looking great. So back here I have my rice, then I have my onions with my sesame seed oil. And so those are the 3 meals that we have this week. So this is great for a week when maybe you're going on vacation, or you know that you just have you won't be eating dinner at home a lot, and so just a great 3 quick meals. And so I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you were able to do with your extra free time. All right, and here's what we have. So we have our salmon sheet pan meal with our extra glaze right over there. So we're gonna put that glaze on right before we put it in the oven. We have our rice that's cooked for our fried rice. I'm gonna have it tomorrow. We also have our onions and our sesame seed oil. You should have some garlic if you're using fresh garlic, and you might also have some carrots if you wanted to use fresh carrots. I'm using frozen peas and carrots, so that is still in my freezer. I'll also need some eggs for that meal as well. And then back here, I have my sweet potatoes, and then I have my turkey with all of my spices and my onions as well. And so this will go in the skillet first. I did 2.5 pounds, so likely whenever I cook this, just because this turkey was used or freeze by today, I'll probably won't use all of it for this meal. The rest of it I'll save, either for some tacos or something like that. And I'm also gonna go ahead and cook the other turkey that came with it. And so that is what we have for this week, our 3 meals.